Good morning. Good afternoon. It's my morning, but we made it. Look at you guys in the house. Man, happy New Year's. Is this the first stream of the new year? It's New Year's. Yeah, happy New Year's. Hello, hello, hello. Asian Steve in the house, sure. Right. Look at, man. All the people coming in. Love it. Love it. Love it. Dude, what a Monday. Was anybody worried? I mean, kind of worried. This crazy shenanigans, crazy shenanigans over the weekend. Insane. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on. Actually, it's been a really good Monday. Been a really good Monday. But anyways, if you guys can give the chat or the stream a retweet if you're on the Twitter, and then where else are we? But welcome. Appreciate everybody for hopping in. Happy New Year for sure. Yeah, I see this SoFi, man. Don't trust it. Took profit. I mean, it's a big win. It's a big win. There's a lot of stuff happening in the market right now. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of like front running a lot of news also. Dude, the SoFi. I heard that SoFi credit card thing was like only for specific. I didn't think it was real. Like there was like the $10 a month charge for the 2% cashback SoFi credit card was like only, I think, if you're like doing a lot of returns or something like that. But anyways, yeah, it's a really good day so far. We'll see how the rest of it goes. But welcome if you're new. Give the stream a like. Go ahead, subscribe. We do this every Monday around the lunch hour as long as the market is open. And yeah, it's been a wild ride this weekend. So anyways, I think we might have somebody joining us later on. We'll take a look. A couple of the crew are out in CES right now, enjoying the Vegas. It's probably cold. I never did CES though. CES was one that I had on the list for a while, but didn't end up actually going. But anyways, let's go ahead and kick the show off. But anyways, where do I turn this on really quick? There it is. All right. So this was the news of the weekend. If you didn't catch it, President Maduro captured. And I saw oil up like quite a bit. I don't know. So it was Chevron. That was the massive move. But I got a lot of DMs over the weekend on like, hey, what could possibly be the move here? I'll be honest with you, like the Chevron, Exxon stuff, I don't think they're moving into Venezuela like overnight. So that move getting faded a little bit makes perfect sense to me. The one that is kind of more interesting, I think, really is like the not just the refiners, but I mean, clearly refiners would be Valero and PSX. But before you even get to the refining phase, you have to get the infrastructure to service it and all that stuff. So that would be like a Schlumberger, which is pretty international, potentially a Halliburton, which is mostly domestic here. And I think there's one more, Baker Hughes. So those stocks are up quite a bit. I think those might have a little bit more staying power, but again, we're talking like 10% rally right now. So yeah, quite a bit. And if they pull back, that makes sense. I think it's going to take a while for this to actually get digested by the markets. But anyways, what we do here every Monday is kind of like take a look at what happened last week. What do we have looking forward to this week? And we'll see what we have on deck. We actually have a lot of data coming this week for sure. But clearly, the top headline, U.S. military raids captures President Maduro. I think it wasn't supposed to be for like oil or anything, but that's just what the market kind of jumped to. And initially, as I was reading the headlines, they're like, "We'll tell you why later," and I'm like, "What's going on?" But I guess this is a fast moving situation, so things can change pretty quickly. I believe his arraignment is today, So there's a lot of stuff on the radar for sure, but a very quickly evolving scenario right now. So kind of just take it with a grain of salt, and then we'll see how the market really digests this situation. But other than that, there's some economic data that didn't really go. It didn't get big headlines, but I think it was a pretty big deal. This U.S. pending home sales last week up 3.33% for November, and it brought the home sales index to the highest level since February 2023, which that's massive. And this whole situation with the rate thing potentially coming down. Look, we have a lot of data coming this week. We'll look at that, but highest level since February 2023. I mean, for the housing market to at least stabilize, that's a big deal. Did I talk about VG? No, I took a trade on VG and I sold my VG, but I haven't seen it. I know Nat Gas was down quite a bit today, which I think is pretty typical. Like when we get into the winter months, I think they build the stockpiles there like during summer, but anyways, we have a lot of data coming this week. So right now, that's kind of this pending home sales is moving the market quite a bit. And then we had Kashkari last week also warning us of a weaker labor market. By the way, we do get non-farm payrolls this week, which that's going to be a big deal. The market is not expecting very many jobs. As I was looking at the non-farm payroll expectations, I think it was like 40 or 50,000 jobs. We'll take a look at that. But my God, having watched that number for so long, a normal job report is like 150, 200,000 plus jobs being taken. The expectations are so low right now that, I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of this getting front run, but when we get this data on Friday, it's going to be weird. So if you're not familiar with how that works, essentially the estimate is what's priced into the market right now, and that estimate is to be extremely low, considering. If we come in lower, for sure, the market's going to be like, oh, rate cut is coming. But it's such a low number, it could easily come in higher. And if it comes in too high, which you would think would be good news, market's going to price out some rate cuts and push it back a little bit further. But that's where we are. And that's going to happen on Friday. I saw a lot of notes about QXO. Yeah, so QXO actually is a home builder. Not a home builder, but it's like a logistics, I believe, for the home builders. There's other home building companies like Builders First, and even our RH, which is, I mean, I think I'm up like almost 20% from the lows, but RH is like, it's high end retail / home building. So, but this is a big turnaround point. If the housing sector were to turn around, home building sector were to turn around, I mean, that's a big trade. We're just barely scratching the surface. So it's definitely something to watch for 2026. I think that's a big deal. Definitely. Yeah. RH up like $70 from the lows. It's not it's a big mover. It was over 200 right now. And I'm like, that's the level. If RH can hold over 200 this year, I mean, that's a recovery year for sure. That's a recovery year. But this, from the lows, these home builders, it's a very, really interesting pivot, if you will. And then there's this last bullet here. I don't know does anybody know what the Buffett indicator is? Have you guys heard of this before? So the Buffett indicator, if you're not familiar with it, that is the Wilshire 5000 index, which is like 5,000 stocks divided by GDP. And I actually got the chart today. We'll take a look at it. But that is Buffett's like sell signal, if you will. Today, it's at record peaks, literally like 221%. That's above 2021's all like peak, which we had the 2022 kind of pullback, and above the .com peak. So that's the one thing that's out there right now. It's like, well, look, if we were to have a pullback in a midterm year, this is the one thing right now that's saying, hey, look, we're a little stretched on the valuation front. You have, yeah, there you go. Yeah, this is an old school one. I think he came out, I think he really started talking about it in 2011, which kind of brings me to where we are in the market right now. And I use a 4-year cycle for like historical presidential cycle, 4-year presidential cycle for the markets, kind of like seasonally. And right now, yeah, we're definitively right here, which means that, hey, look, we still have a little bit of upside to go. But if there's something, here's the one thing. The one thing is that I believe the market is saying that we're going to get more rate cuts than the bond market. I believe that the stock market is believing that we're going to get more rate cuts than the bond market believes. And if we don't get rate cuts, or even if we have like rate hikes that start to get priced in 2027, that's really the only thing that I can see kind of like creating this scenario right here where we actually have a little bit of a drawdown. But that's it. And where does that drawdown take us from here? Well, by the time that bottoms out, we actually might be higher than we are today anyways. And if we look at, what's coming next, 2027 would be a massive, would be a massive breakout year here. And then 2028 actually even better. So I like the setup. I think it's going to be like a buy the dip mode, probably not till this is September, October. And until then, we kind of like ride the lightning. So, that's where we are, right? And I think we're going to get a lot of data that might start to shift this market kind of trajectory on Friday. So this week, I think we stay the course. Everything's going higher right now. It's kind of like, it's like a literal everything rally today. Silver is up an ungodly amount. I still haven't sold any silver. I will say that I took some out of the safe, so it's easily accessible to sell if I need to go run down to the pawn shop. But I haven't sold any yet. And I think there might be a lot of people like me that have like stockpiles, like kilos of silver. But from the lows, look, it's been a really good return in not really like a long time. I'd say a few years, but if you bought it at 15, sub $20, not that long ago, you're sitting on a pretty nice return that might not have a lot of tax exposure if it's actual bullion, like actual silver. So, that's the thing out there. When we talk about silver, like the market price, just one other thing to note is that the ETFs clearly don't track the actual price of silver that exact. That's the one thing. Like, part of me is thinking like maybe I could, if something turns really fast because silver moves so fast, I might be able to just hedge with like an inverse silver kind of trade at a digital perspective and keep my bullion. So that's actually a real thing. But anyways, that's where I'm at right now. In terms of that Buffett indicator, this is actually what I was talking about. So what's funny is that when I look at this, technically, look, here's your kind of like breakout zone. This is about 200 right here. And then 150 was here. This cut off the years. But this is the 2022 kind of pullback right in here. And if I looked at this and I'm like, well, is this Wilshire indicator, is this actually a sell signal? And the answer is actually not really. So it depends on how you want to use this. But what I would say is that what this is telling us right now is that valuations are, clearly in a breakout mode, right? So valuations are going higher right now. When this is to like start pulling back, and I think you could just kind of Google it or chat GPT it if you want to. Maybe Grok might be better for something like this. When that starts to pull back, that's going to be a bigger thing. And again, this is very much tied to GDP. So it's going to change when we get our GDP readings, and we just got one of the highest GDP readings ever, or not ever, but in a very long time. I think it was like 4.3, which is, that's pretty high. But all that said, this is for the broad complex of stocks. So Wilshire 5000 is a massive index. Is that, yeah, it's Buffett with another T. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. The one trade that I'm still pretty focused on right now is that January effect trade. This is the IWM or Russell 2000 / Russell 1000. And every year, right around here, right, we tend to kind of bottom out, right, mid to late December. And so far, that's exactly what we got. And really, if we were to rally. Sorry, that's like not a good color. If we were to rally, that actually takes us to just around late February, early March. And right now, when I look at the charts, honestly, this is the best looking setup for me in terms of like which one can move fastest first. And when we see things like SoFi, we see things like, I mean, even my Rivian is like way down there, but a lot of different stuff going. I mean, geez, today is just an absolute everything rally. Where's Evan? Evan's in Vegas. Maybe he shows up, maybe not. But if he does, it'll probably be a call-in from the phone. I asked him if Evan's going to get his one-on-one with Jensen or his exclusive. And he's like, I'm not sure. I'm like, dude, don't second guess yourself, man. Just rush the stage. Jensen does talk today, I believe at CES, but we'll take a look at Evan's kind of Catalyst Watch tweet as well. But other than that, this is what we have this week, right? So this week today, Monday, we got ISM manufacturing PMIs. Actually, I believe came in slightly lower. Anything under 50 on these readings is actually, it came in at 47. What is that? 47.9 versus a consensus of 48.3. So slightly lower. Anything under 50 is in contraction mode. Make sure this is in. Yeah, it's on everything. Qashqai, that was this weekend. We get some bill auctions, nothing major, but that was pretty much everything for right now. Tomorrow, again, not a whole lot tomorrow, but Wednesday we kick off with some actual data. So ADP is somewhat important, not nearly as important as NFP right now, which clearly NFP coming in on Friday. That's going to be the biggest number of the week by far. The other number to possibly pay attention to is the services PMI. So we are a services-led economy. That number could actually be somewhat market moving. JOLTS has not been moving markets at all. That's just, I mean, and it makes sense, right? JOLTS is not a number that I typically pay attention to. JOLTS is like, what's it stand for? Job opening and labor turnover report, which is kind of inconsequential. It's not like NFP. It's just how many jobs were listed that we have open right now, not how many jobs were actually taken. That is actually Friday's number. And that's going to be definitely the big number of the day or the week. Technically, I'm looking at the calendar. We have consumer credit change on Thursday also. Not huge, and consumer inflation expectations. We have a lot of preliminary stuff. We have non-farm productivity, preliminary, unit labor cost, preliminary stuff on Thursday as well. So there's some data, but it's not typically market moving, and especially coming into Friday's NFP. Quite frankly, the day before non-farm payrolls, this day, Thursday, is usually pretty flat overall. But I named 30 grand on crude. I mean, damn, nice, dude. Amazing trade. Zeta goes into this, IWM trade. Zeta definitely goes into the January effect, if you will, which takes us to February, kind of March timeframe. So it's in the right spot for me for right now, at least for the next month or two, and then we kind of need to see, at least from a seasonal perspective. I haven't done like an earnings review in a while, so I figured I'd just give us a quick update. We're going to have earnings season coming later on, but when we do, just to track where we've been and what we're coming from. So last quarter, look, 27 beats, 3 misses of the Dow 30. I mean, that's pretty good. That's about what we've been trending actually for the last year or so. So as we go forward in the year, look, we're gonna have earnings season coming. We'll have to look at this. The only ones that did not beat last quarter are McDonald's, Home Depot, and Boeing, which oddly enough, I mean, Home Depot could be a turnaround story. I mean, we'll have to see. There might be better plays out there, but it's definitely towards the lows for sure. And then Boeing's actually has, I mean, this is a massive backlog. Boeing's been doing okay. I haven't seen it today. But anyways, that's mostly what I had. I want to take a look before we jump into the rest. So this is Evan's kind of catalyst watch here. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, this looks good. Happy New Year. Yeah, we'll talk about this SoFi stuff. But this is tonight at 1 p.m. after hours today. I believe Amit and half the YouTube crew is out there and gonna see his key. I don't know who's gonna get an interview with Jensen. If anybody can, that would be pretty cool. But this is the deal. CEO or CES, NVIDIA tonight after hours, and then Lisa Su also late night. So two notable companies giving keynotes today after the market closes. We'll take a look at the SMH chart. If you haven't seen the semis chart today, it's in I don't know, it's in full-blown breakout mode right now. Is there bets on Amit getting? You think Amit's going to get it? Is he going to get an exclusive? I don't know. Oh, a couple of you guys think Amit. I mean, that would be cool. Yeah, if anybody gets it, it might be Amit for sure. But this is the schedule right now. So again, look, NVIDIA here, AMD here. Anything else? CS Mobility. Transportation. I don't know. Humanoids in the workplace. Whoa. All right. So this is Tassie, I suppose. XR Edge, spatial computing. That's Thursday. Yeah. This is all Tesla, Rivi. If you guys don't know, there's wow. There's a lot of stuff, man. Digital Health Summit. Caterpillar keynote. Didn't see that one coming. Mobileye live at CES. And that's a stock that's in the dumper for sure. Robotin R2. I mean, geez. Lego Group. I mean, that's the calendar right now. So I think clearly Jensen and Lisa, probably the main headliners. Other than that, look, the Neo Clouds are up. Iron, Cypher having an amazing day. I don't think anybody cares about GME. It's not going anywhere. It's so dumb, dude. CS conference in Vegas this week. Innovators show up. 4 main topics expected to be AI, robotics, digital health, and mobility. Companies to watch product announcements. Samsung, LG, Intel, man. I don't know. This stock is like really trying. Is it going to be a turnaround year for Intel? I just feel like that doesn't have a lot of good stuff. I don't know if it's going to be a turnaround year for Intel. It's possible, actually. It's possible. Motorola, Ambarella is a networking company. It's small cap Ambarella, local to me. Qualcomm, I think, just announced some more robotic stuff today. SK Himax. Yeah, Cat. I mean, that was a shocking one for sure. Last year, yeah, I guess technically last year was a turnaround for Intel, but it could. And Versant. Versant is CNBC. Versant spinoff from Comcast today. So Comcast, I think, was a little bit down. I haven't seen what Versant's doing, but new ticker has been born. That's CNBC, and I think they have in the MSNBC, all the NBC stuff. So that's Versant. Dude, no, I'm not. I don't like bull. Yeah, these are the Cybin. I don't know anything about Cybin, but that's today. Marvell fireside chat. JP Morgan will hold a CES fireside chat with Marvell CEO. I did not know that was coming. That's cool. And then Costco monthly sales report. That's interesting. Marvell's up a lot today, kind of towards the highs. Intel is loading up. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible, but I just looking at this chart and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think it has a lot of good stuff priced in still, but that's a hard one. That's a hard one for me to swallow for sure. Caterpillar, PSX, Goldman Sachs. So PSX for this Venezuela thing, the refiners, PSX is actually the other refiner. So everybody thinks Valero. PSX is the second one. So that could be a watch for sure. I've never heard of this ticker. Mastech? Plug. I don't want to do anything plug. Defense outlook. Yeah, Palantir. I haven't seen Palantir today, but it'd be interesting to see if it held any of its gains from the weekend. So someone asked about the weed stocks. We'll have to see Tilray. If you want to take a flyer, I think you can, but the flyer's usually been. I always thought Canopy Growth CGC was the better one, but there's no good one, to be completely honest. It's just, he's crazy. Okay. And then Friday, Silicon Valley Auto Show. I didn't even know that. Toyota, who's been on a ripper. GM, also been on a ripper. Lucid, not been on a ripper. Tesla will be making a rare auto show appearance with its Cybertruck. No Rivian, but Volkswagen is here, which has the Rivian software. I don't know. Cadillac GM has been making some moves for sure. And Toyota with their plug-in hybrids, probably going to be a big thing. Didn't Lucid have a van? Did Lucid Plug is a disaster. Plug is 100% a disaster. I was thinking about this like before. I've not been a big Charger fan, like not the football company, but like EV chargers. There's a handful of like EV charging companies. Do you guys watch any of these? And I'm looking at all the releases and everything's coming out, and I'm like, okay, GM's actually selling a good amount of EVs, and then Ford is doing well. I don't think they're going to be pushing it forward, but some of these EV charging companies, I'm like, wow, what if they're not going bankrupt? Especially in the Valley and California. I'm like, oh no. Blink charging is like way down there. Probably not something I want to really invest in, but I mean, it's sub $1, like in the pennies. Could be interesting if EV sales are at the lows, which I think they could be, at least be priced in towards the lows, and it's not anything but up from here post the tax credit being removed. Yeah. Wild guess. No, Rivian has a lot of catalysts this year. This is absolutely a transition year for Rivian. Just from a raw, can it become a profitable company transition? In terms of catalysts, there are a ton of catalysts this year for Rivian. Besides that, if they can turn a profit this year, that's the main catalyst, gap profitability. But they didn't have this R2. R2, by the way, is a smaller SUV. You can pre-order them now. Yeah, EVgo, possibly. You can pre-order like R2s now. You cannot pre-order R3s yet. There's going to be something called the R3X, which is like the crossover. But R2, do you guys have any idea how much Rivians cost? If you were to go buy a Rivian right now, by the way, new, it's like 120 grand. Oh, they're over 100 grand. The truck, R1T, R2S, or R1S, whatever, it's well over 100 grand, unless you buy it used. But this new Rivian model, this R2, it's like 50 grand or less is what. So we're talking about a Model 3 moment for Rivian. Also, at the same time, the R2 is supposed to ship with their I think it's Gen 3 tech, which, by the way, so Rivian's tech is all backwards compatible, but this new tech is also supposed to launch their subscription service called Autonomy Plus. And that's like FSD kind of equivalent for Rivian. So that R2 launch should coincide with the Autonomy Plus subscription. That's the trigger. That's the piece that it could like propel Rivian to be all of a sudden a profitable company. I mean, you know, the thing about Tesla, it's just a different model. Like Tesla, I'm not buying a Cybertruck. Thought about it, not buying it. But a Rivian R1S, big SUV. But the truck that Rivian has, I feel like is the best EV truck that I would buy. And the thing about Tesla is like Tesla took an angle that was not really focused on having their technology be backwards compatible, meaning there are a lot of Tesla owners that are not able to do FSD, which is why like a lot of EVs, specifically Tesla, have a really low residual value, or like they have a lot of depreciation that hits right away. Rivian has depreciation when you buy it, but the thing about Rivians is that they're all backwards compatible. So it's different from Tesla from that perspective, so that every Rivian on the road will be able to have this Autonomy Plus subscription moving forward. Unlike Tesla, where kind of good for Tesla when you think about it from a business perspective, it forces a lot of people to go buy new Teslas if they really want those features, but not all models will be backwards compatible from Tesla. Unlike a Rivian. I'm not sure about Lucid, but yeah, there's a new Lucid Gravity. I feel like the SUV from Lucid almost looks like a van, dude. I don't know. I looked at it. It just kind of feels a little like a van. But yeah. Rivian produced a total. Yeah. So, and then this is the thing, Rivian produced 15% less over last year, 2025 versus 2024, almost on purpose. And as someone that owns the stock, I'm actually not worried about that at all, because Rivian was losing money every time they sold a car. So the more cars they sold, and this was kind of like a strategic move also, the more cars they sold, like the more cash they burned. So I'm like, it wasn't more sales didn't necessarily equate to this more profit for Rivian for a while. But anyways, moving forward, I think it's just a potential transition year. Now, R2 is going to be, and I'm talking about this for a while, but R2 is going to be a brand new model. I don't think it's going to be a clean move. Like there's going to be bumps in the road. So it's going to be choppy. I would expect if there's any kind of delays, issues with the R2 that maybe pushes the R3 out, there's all kinds of stuff that can happen. So it's a risky bet any way you slice it, but there are a lot of catalysts for sure. But anyways, sorry, enough about that. On other news, Toyota is in a breakout, I believe. So anything over 200, holding that 200, Toyota actually looks pretty good. Light earnings week. And again, so Evan's doing the same thing. We don't have a lot of earnings on deck, but earnings will be coming. Anything happening this week? Constellation Brands, not really. Calming Foods, no. APLD. That could be one. That could be one to watch. But yeah, Constellation Brands, APLD. Tilray's probably not going to move much. But that's all we have. Synex. Most people don't know this company. That's a enterprise tech distributor. So if you're not familiar with this company, SNX, in the enterprise, how it works is that when you go buy technology, let's say you want to buy, if you're not buying direct from, let's say, NVIDIA, or even if you are sometimes, pretty much everything, software included, all hardware, software, everything runs through a couple companies. And I mean a couple companies. There's one called Synex, which I don't remember if they bought Tech Data or not, but there's another one called Tech Data. But these are the big distributors. They don't make a lot of money. It's like fractions of a point reselling. But you have to go through Synex to buy any technology in the enterprise. So depending on what they say, and again, kind of under the radar, not necessarily a stock that I want to own, but definitely something that will give you a cue on whether or not the AI trade is really how alive and well it is. This stock, sleeper stock, will tell you a lot about how that ecosystem is going. Easy. Yeah, and then fifth through 9th. Did he say we're getting the master earnings calendar? Next week, earnings season kicks off on the 13th. So they're coming. Macro calendar. I mean, this is pretty much what we're talking about. ADP Wednesday, but so Thursday, we get a lot of this stuff. So non-farm payroll preliminary numbers. These are preliminary. And then Friday is the big one. So non-farm payrolls Fridays. This is what I'm talking about. So the forecast and consensus, super low. I mean, 50K, give or take, jobs to be taken. I mean, that's like nothing. I'm so used to seeing 150 plus, 250 jobs, 250,000 jobs. It's going to be crazy. So this day, by the way, is shaping up to be a pretty violent day on Friday. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I think it's very much going to be about after Friday. So next week, to me, like the month always starts on that non-farm payroll day. And finally, the government's been shut down for so long that the data we've been getting has been kind of like hit and miss. Finally, we're going to start to get back into a regular flow of actual data. Plus, holidays ending, we're going to see the volume start to come back. I think after this Friday, we should be in the clear. We should have regular volumes turning back up, and we should actually start seeing, something new pretty soon, or something like a bigger trend start to appear. That's something new. I think that's it for the Tom Lee and Micro Sailor watchers. They update their crypto holdings tomorrow. I mean, crypto having a decent day. That's it. That's what we got. That is what we got for now. Can I cover hymns? Yeah, we can start doing this. Look at you, dude. It's my hair. Well, before we get into charts, though, we do have one more person to check in with. So let's go ahead and do that. Our good friend, Miss Cleo, is in the house. So she did send over. What we have for this week. So let's go ahead and take a look at what she said. All right. So Miss Cleo is back with another forecast. If you're not familiar with this part of the show, this is like entertainment purposes only. What we get, she does the tarot reading. So once a week, we get a tarot card reading. It usually starts out, it always starts out with a theme card to kick us off for the week. I'm not sure how I feel about that theme card. And then and then we get a card for every day of the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, this is the theme card. It's a 6 of Pentacles, but yeah, I don't know. That looks like we're giving something away. I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't do this stuff. And then today, King of Swords. Oh God. What? Or my futures buddies are probably shorting this market right now. But this is not, what is that? Out in the cold, huh? So we go 6 of Pentacles, and then tomorrow. I mean, so this is post CES, so maybe we're seeing I don't know. I'll just say this looks like a buy the dip moment. So we have Jensen and Lisa tonight, and then tomorrow's card from Miss Cleo looks like we're this does not look good. That we're out in the cold with nothing. But Wednesday the Magician shows up, which is usually like I think at support, and then an 9 of Cups, and the Moon. I have no idea what happens on the Moon. You'd think after so many months doing this, I would remember some of these things, but I just do not. So anyways, let's see what she wrote. So the theme card is the 6 of Swords. Was that the Swords? Is she have right? No. It's the 6 of Pentacles. I don't know if she's got a typo or what. Stocks have a strong showing of big energy cards in this week's draw. Oh, it's Pentacles. I wonder if that's a definite typo. Oh yeah, she corrected it. Just the name. She didn't change the write-up. All right. Like crypto stocks have a strong showing of big energy cards in this week's draw. There aren't many majors, but the king sits in for one. The theme card says that we'll be in a position to give or receive charity. Yep. Which means dips bought and rallies sold. That's pretty neutral. It sounds a lot like the action over the past month or two. It does not seem bearish, but let's see what the daily cards have to say. All right. Yeah, so she updated. This was just a typo. Didn't update the actual writing, though. So we're good. So today is Monday, the King of Swords. This card likes to sweep both sides in the form of chop, but carries a slightly positive bias. The worst case for bulls is usually a flat close. The best case is a green rally day. I mean, pretty green on a lot of things. Buying dips is a better move than chasing a rally. Fair-ish. Okay. Tuesday, 5 of Pentacles. We're hurting. Yeah, this was the one we're left out in the cold. The pain and suffering is severe. Oh, man. The pain and suffering is severe. Okay. But there's hope. This card is near the opposite of Monday's card. It carries negative bias, with the best case for the bulls being a choppy red day. Yikes. Best case being a choppy red day, but it tracks. Okay. Look for a possible change in energy shortly after lunch. So it's only Tuesday morning. Not a reversal, but a lessening of the damage. So wait for the close. Wednesday's the Magician. This dude is one of the most powerful cards in the deck. But oddly enough, he uses it to trap people rather than carry them on a trend. Great. Abracadabra. Pricing should be deceptive. It will seem clear, and then the winds will suddenly shift into a storm. And then back again. Okay, we're still in day trading mode. Is that what Miss Cleo's saying here? Thanks, cards. He's capable of a trend, but when he does, it's negative. So we definitely don't want to chase a rally and are probably better selling calls or selling the rallies. All right. Thursday's 9 of Cups. Well, this wealthy trader, 9 of Cups. Okay. Wealthy trader sits proud in front of his wealth of riches. He's no longer accumulating because he's done all his work. Really? I don't think I remember this one. Now he's just greedy, stingy, and selfish. What? We're likely to be stuck in place and gains lost before the day ends. Gains lost. That does not sound super bullish. Maybe Tuesday's like a gap up. If this is a gap up and reversal, I can see that, like the Broadcom gap up and reversal. Friday's the moon. This can be a fun card when it wants to be. This is non-farm payroll day. But lately, it's leaned closer to illusion than clarity. Yeah. It typically... So my rule is never swing on non-farm, like never enter new trades on non-farm payroll days, which I will not be doing. Unless I want to inverse the price action that I see. Sometimes I will do that. But lately, it's leaned closer to illusion than clarity. It typically brings opposing energy or attempts to turn the ship around in the face of a multi-day trend. So play the opposite direction of the prior day or two and trade momentum if a trend develops. All right. For the day. It's a big day. It can be a big moving day, but if we have a big day on non-farm payroll days, we don't usually see follow through. We usually see retracement. But to recap, there's a lot of energy in play this week, but it's going to be tricky to trade. Expect a lot of mean reversion and chopped. Increased liquidity may dampen market reactions. Maybe. But that's what she's got for the week. So TBD, I guess. We shall see. What was I doing here? Let me just get my chart set. Marvel. This is supposed to be SPY. So I'm going to take a look at the indices. IWM, to me, is going to look the best. Here we go. This is the one I'm looking for. Q's pulling back diamonds. Yeah, IWM at the daily. Wow. 253 on IDubs. That's well above the 20-day. Dollar pulling back. Biddy still at the resistance level. Ethereum actually looking pretty good. Silver back to the highs. VIX kind of pulling back. So let's take a look. So usually I'll just take a quick view, like high level. I like to use a 30-minute chart. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Let me just make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see it. Yeah, you probably can't see that. And if you have some tickers that you want me to take a look at, now's the time to go ahead and drop those. I'll get through a couple. Well, I'll get through as many as I can. So we have a little bit of time today, but this is where I'm at. So on SPY, SPY, right now we have a pretty clean consolidation at the highs. This, let's see, here is basically 690, give or take. That's our actual kind of topping point right now. So we've had, I don't know if you want to count this, 1, 2. This is attempt number 3. Usually, to me, we can get a solid 4 attempts on something like this. And sometimes if we have a pullback, attempt number 3 can be a bigger pullback, but it's typically going to do something like that. With NFP though coming, that's the biggest thing. So I'm not going to take a major read right now. What I will say is that we can measure. This was our prior. A couple things here. So non-farm payroll level from not January. The last one is 682. So quite frankly, 682 is about, let me zoom in on this just a little bit. 682, we had a gap up at 682 and a half, or 682.90 right here. I still have to update this NFP scripts, but just about the halfway point from here to here, that's what this is. This is kind of our, from this prior low to that prior high, what this is measuring is a 50% retracement from that swing low to swing high. And this gives us what we call like a golden pocket, if you will, right between the 20-day and the 50-day SMA. That's what that is. From a weekly perspective, geez, Louise, we have, I'm trying to find this. Is this what that looks pretty heavy. I'm not seeing the weekly range low, but I'll tell you what, this is an average weekly range from the open to here. So if we have an average week, this week SPY can hit 700. That's an average weekly range. To the downside, we're right back to the lows also. That's a measured average weekly range. I have it on my charts. You guys probably can't see it. It's kind of intentional, but I have an automated calculation. It's 701 for an average weekly range. Prior month, prior quarter highs, 691. And here we are. This has been the pivot. So if we continue higher, well, this is it. If we can break through 1, 2, 3, I mean, if we're just thinking one, I don't want to say that out loud. If this is going to be count 1, 2, 3, and then that, I mean, that would be 700s, and 701 is with it, almost 702 is within an average weekly range. So, I mean, geez, that's kind of wild. Didn't think that. And we have a session gap towards the lows too. So session gap is 682. We kind of mentioned 680 something is actually 682.20 is the actual non-farm payroll level. But so far, so good. This is the prevailing downtrend right here that had been broken. I think from a trend count perspective, we were looking at here, this being a higher high, and then higher high, this being a higher low, this being clearly another higher high, which meant that I would be looking for really a secondary higher low to lock in this potential trend count. That does take us just slightly over. And then this one right now, this is technically an equal high. So it's not really anything, but we still at least have another higher low. So from a trend count perspective, what I want to see here is I want to see this breach that prior all-time high from that level and see what this is, whatever that is. Oh, I take it back. That is a higher high. Look at that. Higher. So our trend count's intact. This looks pretty decent. And 685.82 is a big pivot that we've had for a long time. So that 685 level, if we do get a pullback, that's going to be right here. If I measure just this one, so this one's done. Even if I measured here from this low to where we are right now, yeah, there it is. So we still have that 685 kind of pivot. So for right now, I think 685 is key. As long as we can hold that, then I don't have to worry about this session gap down below us. 684.62. And even if we do fill that gap at 682, which is over here, honestly, that also looks like a decent spot to potentially take a shot long. So that's going to be key for me. The broad trend, even if that fails, the broad trend is absolutely intact, meaning as long as this is our higher low, 680, yeah, that's anything here is technically buyable, but we could still see some consolidation before we actually break out. Yeah, technically 700s is within an average week's range, but with NFP coming this week, I do want to have kind of like taper my expectations right now. But Qs, not quite over all simple, like all major moving averages. We have some pretty, it's technically caught in a bit of a chop zone right here. This is our overhead supply. Downtrend has been broken. If I move this over and do it this way, look, I can still see this getting up to this level and still 625 acting as resistance for right now. So technically the Qs is not nearly as bullish as SPY or the rest of the charts, right? So when I look at this, and we just did that trend count for a reason. So like here, this is clearly a higher high, right? And then down here, this is going to be something called like this. Well, technically, this is a lower low since it's below that level. Technically, the bigger piece is that this is a lower high. Oops. So this is a lower high, and we have at best consolidation here with a higher low. So because of these two things here, this is still going to be the Qs. Still going to be in consolidation. And that session gap is closer to 613. And I think 613 remains to be like that general area. That if Qs is going to bounce, this is definitely a better spot. What you don't want to see is you don't want to see a big breakdown like that. Like you see a breakdown like that on QQQ, then right, we have bigger problems. I mean, not bigger problems, but then we're probably looking at sub 600 again for a potential pullback. Depending on your time horizon, that may or may not matter. But the rest of these, when I look at this, like this is definitely kind of approaching this general area. We're clearly broken out from I say clearly for me here. This looks a little bit more constructive, and especially holding that 244 prior all-time high from both of these spots, this prior double top. And if I drop to a weekly, you guys might be able to see it. This setup is starting to look better and better every day, especially as long as it's holding over 244. This is a weekly chart. This sets up pretty good. And we're holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. And it's because of the last trading session. Like when you look at that last trading session, I mean, geez, we are right here. That's a pretty solid retest holding over that all-time high 244 level. That, I mean, comes in from multiple areas, right? Like comes in from here, comes in from here. It's a break. It's a retest. From a longer term perspective, yeah, IWM, just look at that. To me, I mean, just looks like a much better setup that reinforces that kind of January effect trade, if you will. And all of this, I mean, it looks pretty good. Definitely coming off the more recent lows, right off the bottom of this channel right here. So multiple levels of confluence, whether it be that prior 245 all-time high, whether it be the 50-day simple moving average. Today, closing up here, we're above all significant major SMAs and coming off the bottom of the channel. I have a lot of confluence here. So I like this better than the rest of the charts, plus seasonal tailwinds. Potentially squeezing on high time frames. Yeah. So if you're not aware, what I would do here is let's go ahead, because I think this is the primary trade. Let me do an equivalent measurement. So 260 an average weekly range. But I think I can get, Yeah, I think I can get a monthly read here. Just going a little old school. So this is a monthly range there. Yeah, so average, that takes me over 270. So that's an average monthly move. Yep. So that's the week. 270 on the month. That's a pretty big move, like big possibility. And if we get that 2-month kind of follow through, that's just under 300. Let me just do one more measurement. In this pullback, oh my goodness, even more confluence. All right. And let me just do an extension. Yep. Okay. So this gives me a lot of confluence for upside targets too. Here, phase one, and a potential bigger breakout. Jeez. No, I can't go for that, but we'll have to see when we get there. But this shows me like the January effect could take me upwards of just under 300. So I like that. What's that percentage wise? Little TNA, 15%. You know what TNA is? TNA is that 2x leverage IWM ticker. Okay. Possibly 60 plus. Maybe close to 70. That'd be wild. Yeah, but I like this as like the focus area right now. Plus with that Wilshire index indicator, I don't mind it being at least in this area. IWM trading. Oh no, yeah, you're right. TNA is 3x. You're right. It is 3x. You can't see it here, but TNA is a 3x leveraged IWM ticker. I mean, you can't invest in these clearly, but you can hold them for a month or two. They're trading vehicles and hedging vehicles and stuff like that. They're not investments, but imagine TNA gets back to 100 again. We'll see. I like this one. I like it a lot, clearly. And we had to take a look quickly at a couple more. So this is the dollar. This is always the one that we kind of want to watch. So dollar is right now actually was up in the pre-market and hit its head right on the 50 and the 200-day simple moving averages. Massive intraday rejection. So this is actually pretty bullish for stocks. That's this right here. So this red line is 200-day, 50 line is the blue line is the 50-day SMA. But a pretty heavy rejection right around 98. And when I draw this across, you might see it. It gets more and more interesting. Like if I just took this and just drew a white line all the way across, 98, that was support before, now resistance. Yeah. The more that you look at this, you're like, it's not ready to go up quite yet. So this is a big pivot right where we are. In the past, we've had some pretty big kind of downside moves. 1, 2, which could, downside, which could kind of ignite that first quarter, maybe first half type rally if we see this continuation, which is even more bullish for things like gold, silver, copper. By the way, I took an FCX trade over the weekend, looking pretty good. And finally, Biddy catching up. So here's where we are. Since I know a lot of people are looking for Bitcoin, this area right here, 50 or 87 and change. What just happened? What? Sorry. I have no idea what just happened. leave that. Oh no. Sorry guys, I gotta open up another browser. Where did it go? Ah! No big deal. No big deal. This is where Biddy is right now. So the blue and the white lines down here, that's the 50-day and the 20-day simple moving averages. Kind of like really like jumping straight through that. What this area is right here is if I take this is a measurement from the prior low to this high right here. That's almost exactly, I believe. Make sure. Oh no, this. What is this one? This box. So here, 87 down to 76. That's your support from the last move. From this to this. This one, I think I have the bearish. It's like the bullish retracement. If it was from here to here, 50% is right here, 100,000 right now. And when we lost that level, we actually had a pretty clear shot into this bearish zone, which then it actually lost. And we're just now getting back into it. So as long as it's 94,161, this was resistance. If it can become, it is resistance right now. If it can become support, what we should see is a pretty clean, straight shot right into 100K, like super clean. From here, what you don't want to see, this can pull back and this could pull back to 92.5. 92.5, we want to see that act as support. And then that kind of reclaims this is called like a golden pocket from a prior retracement perspective. And if 92.5 can hold, then we're good for 100. That's as simple as that. And this trade becomes extremely high probability if this happens. It doesn't have to shoot straight through right now, but the probability of that happening is like 60, almost 70% on this level. We're not through it yet though. So right now it's still technically resistance per this. And I would expect some kind of pullback, and I want to see 92.5 hold. And then if it can get back over the level is $94,161.70. If it can get back over, you have a very clear measured recapture of 100K, at which point you kind of want to expect that. You expect 100K to act as overhead resistance. It is resistance. It just is what it is. Resistance from here, resistance from here. So meaning you expect this to bounce up with a high probability from a high probability perspective. And then if it can't continue over 101,000, you, with an equal level of high probability, expect this to come back down to right where it came. And the best case scenario is that we chop in this for a while, but it's not till we get well over that 101,000 kind of level that we can talk about 109. But those are the levels on Bitcoin. It is what it is. It's still in consolidation. I think that the alts are actually telling you the bigger story right now. So if this is going to happen, what I'm seeing in the altcoin space is like those kind of towards the lows here. And honestly, those might not explode, but as long as the altcoins are, like we could take a look at Solana, as long as those are slowly trudging away to the upside, like doing the same kind of thing, I think you can expect that that move out of Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin's going to break out first, but these areas on something like a Solana, look, these are big levels on these alts right now. Meaning, like, if you're looking at this objectively from a long-term perspective, if something like Solana does not hold this level right now, it's an ugly chart, right? But it's holding. That's what's true. This head and shoulders, whatever, is not playing out. As long as it's over, I'd call it, like, I'd give it room to about 100, 105. As long as it's over this head and shoulders not breaking down. That breakdown would be brutal. And this is going to be a failed bearish pattern if this holds. So you guys know what I say, like, failed bearish patterns are pretty bullish setups. So this is a weekly time frame chart. Weekly matters more than most of the other ones. And so I look at this, I look at my Avalanche or whatever that's at, like, it hit like $11 the other day. I think it's over 14 and change. If that gets over 16, I know we're in for a rally. Over here, I think it's about 140s. We have to take a look at this guy. But yeah, 145. Solana, if you get over 145, I mean, that's a major break. And over that kind of whole, see this right here, value area level right in here, if you're trading up, that's what, 150s, 145, 150. That's a big kind of breakout. I don't think you have to go out and chase this right now, but over 150 for sure. 145, you're getting close. And over this whole volume shelf, you're going back to the highs. And as this makes the kind of move, you'll probably see Bitcoin back towards the highs already, well before this happens. And then this whole thing just ends up looking like a massive, you're talking 200 plus. It's a much better trade than Bitcoin to me. It's always like this. You're at least 216, which even on something like Solana, forget about Bitcoin. That's 60% right there. Just as a little blip, which is why I don't really care about trading Bitcoin. But yeah, it looks the same across the board. Ethereum held exactly where it's supposed to. 3170. Okay, so 3170 is the level. We're 32. We hold this 3170, we're going to see near 4K again. So this is it. This is it. It's right now. But if we do not, in equal probability, hold 31, let's call it this one. Call it 3K. 3150 right here. That has to be like a stop loss. 3150. Yeah, and then for sure we're going back to the lows. Which it might get bought up again, but that's this trajectory is a pretty high probability. Until then, we're grinding higher, and I would stay the course. Slow grind, taper expectations. I'm looking at 38s. 38s in reality. I would not do like around 4,000 number, but 38s, give or take. Looks pretty good. All right, so I'm going to scroll up and take a look at what some of you guys are asking for. Silver. Is it another higher low? Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, so silver, this is an extension just of this prior consolidation right here. That extension takes me to, 67. And this big piece takes me to 72.72. So right now, that's what we're kind of like targeting, 72.72. It's not a lot. I think it's pretty clear. What we're looking at. Let's take this again. From this last consolidation. Yeah, we're geez. As long as that 62, that last high holds, I think we're good. I could easily see this going into an extended consolidation though, somewhere between 72 and 67. That would be perfectly fine to me. It's if we're over 73, then we have another breakout that's going to take us likely to 85. Over 80s. And then we're talking about some really wild stuff because there's a lot of people probably trying to short this also. I'm not. I mean, it's I don't know. Silver's got, like, if AI is going to be good, silver's probably going to be good. And the market says, hey, look, there's a lot of use for silver in, and copper in a lot of, mostly silver, like chips, cables, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, connections. What's the other one? Corning. No, that's glass. Corning does like Ethernet too, I think. Still consolidation. Now, this is kind of an interesting one. 1, 2, 3 shots. Fourth attempt should be good. But let's move on. So APLD. Applied Digital. This is a pretty heavy consolidation. I mean, high beta mover, no question. So I think this is still in consolidation. You still have to deal with this area right here, which is about 35. So to me, this looks like it's on a trajectory to do something like that, at least look like it's going to break out. But that first breakout's usually something to fade. And then you want to see it pull back and hold this lower level here. So assuming that can get through, we're not there yet. You're right at resistance here. But this could be one that moves pretty fast. Just saying. Let me get these wicks out of the way. I'm just going to use actual market data. Just for a second. I mean, it's still there. Yeah, I can see this getting into that resistance area where it broke down before. But then you got to be a little bit more cautious, even if it does something like that. But this would be a more bullish hold over here to see if it goes. I can't really measure this quite yet. I mean, you could, but it's more of a story, speculative stock than anything else. That'd be in the 50s if that does really break through. Oh, interesting one. Twilio. I haven't looked at this in a while, but why is it down right now? Dude, I think I like this. So prevailing downtrend, 1, 2 highs. You got earnings coming soon. Dude. That actually looks pretty buyable. That's interesting. So we usually see just like that for like the APLD reference chart. Just like this. First break, in general, is not usually the one to press. Usually you want to see it pull back and hold just like this. This is so I'm taking a little bit of time on this chart because this is actually a big deal if this happens, because not that this is really how you should read it, but that's 250, just under 250. Even if I took it from this last lower high. Yeah, I have that same level. So the first level is 200. It's basically 200 first. So I did bearish retracement and a bullish extension, and they're both kind of lining me up right around the 200 level, which, oh my, I didn't even look at this. This level goes way back. Way back. Okay. Yeah, so that gives me 129. So even a pullback that holds around 129, that's going to be about the 50-day. Right now, what I can tell you is that this looks like the beginnings of a reversal day anyways. This is a heavy watch. This is a heavy watch. This looks good. Exact fair value fill, almost to the penny. Jeez. Yeah, I want to watch this one for sure. I mean, break, retest on multiple. That's a good call out. Good watch for sure. Path, no, I don't really do path. It's not like my thing. Those are super speculative. Yeah, this looks like it's kind of toppy. This looks like a short incoming, quite frankly. Yeah, you got to hang tight, or I mean, you got a big bounce off the lows. I don't think this is gonna hold. This is $15. Your trigger. 1570. It's gotta close the next few weeks over 1570. Otherwise, you're at risk. You have earnings coming in March. They might start to sell it off a little bit. CoreWeave. This thing, man. This is brutal. 65s, but I mean, just so stuck. It's consolidating. I just feel like this one you have to just watch. Yeah, this is your consolidation right here. And while this is probably the intermediate lows, and then this, you want to see it lock another higher low, but you have lower highs and higher low right now. So the best case scenario that you can expect, and I mean best case scenario, is continued pullback and continued consolidation before this is ready to go anywhere. And this is really going to kind of center around that 73 level, give or take. So that's best case scenario. It looks very squeezy, but this is not ready just yet. I think you got to put this more on a watch for a bit. Hims. Ooh. I mean, it wants to. I should use a different tool for that. Sorry. Hims, I need to use a parallel channel and tag this and tag that, but give it some breathing room. So this is support channel. which is bounced out of for a while. That was the very low, like the lowest possible spot just recently that this could have any kind of like inkling of being able to survive. 32. You do not want to see that get lost. If you lose 32, this is going to look real ugly real fast. But if it can get over the 50-day, which is this blue line up here, I think this chops a little bit more. And if it can eventually get out of that channel, then this looks more like 50 up in here, which is not bad, but the road to get there is pretty long. So, I mean, if you like it, and there's going to be a lot of legal issues with this one, but if you like it, it's not horrible. You have a pretty simple stop at 32. This cannot get below that. Micron. You guys are hitting me pretty fast, like with a lot today. Micron is target acquired, so I think you're done. Target acquired meaning from this consolidation here, you have, and I posted a chart on this. Here's that prior consolidation here with a break right into your targets, most of your targets right here. Yeah, I think you're okay. Actually, let me do this one more time. Here, yeah, 328.44. So 328.44 is that doubling. This kind of puts it around the $300 level, where if you see it at least holding 300 in a couple weeks, you could see that move, but that's what it has to look like. So you have to see another cohort of buyers, if you will, around that $300 level kind of show up before it can actually make another move. Otherwise, below 300, then you're going to get another retest. But this is target acquired, so I would be a seller right now and then wait for the next trade to show up, quite frankly. Good move, though. bmnr. I mean, it's got to be the same as ETH. I didn't buy anymore. I sold a ton at like 40s. Technically a higher low. So this $30 level, just under 30 right here, was that prior support. I think you want to see that act as support still. Usually, so it's sitting on the 20-day simple and the 200-day simple. This is an area where things get real choppy. I mean, really choppy on all stocks. I don't care what you are. If it can get through, look, it's 35 to the upside right now and potentially 38s for a bit of an extension, like here, like that. That's it. But in the meantime, seeing this pullback like that is honestly more what I would expect. Just like that. You got a lot of resistance here that it's going to battle with. So I would expect some people, plus, I mean, what is it? Annual shareholder meeting. I know you stay the course. These were probably the dip buys. 27 is probably a decent dip buy. But if this holds around 30, it's probably okay. It's not out of a downtrend yet, though. This is just giving me one higher low. So the best I can really expect is kind of another bout of consolidation, similar to what this was before. And you don't want to see this breakdown, right? Because if you get that kind of consolidation breakdown, this is exactly what you would expect. But we can take this and really just kind of say, okay, if that's going to be where it is, this is our last breakdown area. You got a little bit more. but it's not broken out yet. So you could see like this, same kind of concept, hits the 50-day, holds, and then see something like that. That right there makes a lot of sense to me. So patience, maybe a pop, but whatever this pop is that comes, if we get one, probably not going to hold. And then you want to see it lock another higher low. We can look at SoFi. $30. I mean, we're here. Massive consolidation. This is a tough one. I think you got earnings coming. There it is. So of this more recent consolidation, that's what I'm looking at. So it's just this measured from this high to that low. Over 28, we always have this kind of move here, but it's got to get over 29.5 and hold. It's got to have closes over 29.5. And then if it can, cool. Your stop is 32. And I think... So January 30th, I think it probably could do that, actually, which means that 28 is the near-term support, like this. And you expect some kind of consolidation and a move into that as we approach earnings at the end of the month as like a pre-earnings run. And then it's a show me story. So at that point, does it actually hold? I don't know, because earnings are going to overtake whatever the chart says. So I see something like this, 28s. You just don't want to see it lose 28 right here. But you're about to get a fundamental catalyst. Twofold. One on Friday for NFP that's going to affect SoFi and all your upstarts, Affirms, things like that are moving. Yeah, like you can look at this. Affirm I saw was like heavy upside. Look at this. I mean, Jiminy crikey. This is big upstart. I think I saw big, yeah, same thing, big old candle. I mean, it looks bullish. This is a pretty bullish hold. It's a real bullish hold. 85s if we get any higher. And then if that thing becomes, oh God, I don't even want 125s. I mean, that Affirm chart looks pretty clean and orderly from a long-term perspective when you look at it. It's a 1 year. Yeah. Six months. I mean, there it is. It's a big mover. That's all I can say. It's a big mover. What is this up on the day? 9%. Like I said, everything rally. Everything rally for sure. TMDX. This is small cap. I just don't know if that's something I want to. I think you have to. What's the addressable in reality? The realistic addressable here is holding. I can't say that I'm in love with it, to be honest. This is a little bit too low. It's just okay, but this one moves slow. This is 175, which is not bad from here. It's like this, and then you expect another one like that, and then we can maybe talk about a longer term. But right now, this is not actually one of those cup and handle setups, not yet. It does make it to 175, but then you're in for a heavier rejection at that point. It's a smaller, I think it's a smaller TAM, 4 billion. What's SYM? Symbotic. Is this AI robot stuff? What is this? Symbotic. E-commerce. Yeah, gotcha. It looks good. $50 billion, $40 billion market cap. Up 6.5% on the day. That's a bit much for this one. To 75, maybe. But this looks like it's still very much in consolidation, like extreme consolidation for multi-months. DraftKings, we're almost there. So we had a pullback to 24s from this much higher time frame, and I'm going to do like two more and then we'll call it. You got a bit of what we would call like a broadening formation here, kind of towards the lows. And same on the upside, if you want to do it like this way. Something like this. This center line that it's coming up on, 37, is about the major consolidation for this area, and I can pull it back to about 35 over here. So I had a lot of confidence, 200 week simple, broadening formation, low end, even from here to here, 26, 25, near exact kind of pinpoint pullback. So multi levels of confluence for a bounce there. Now coming into, playoffs and things like that. It's a TBD moment. So you have the 200-day still overhead, $37. If this can get choppy like this, and it can hold 37 in the chop, then it becomes 40. But it can get squeezy right now. I don't know that it's like, oh, I'm going to explode here and like out of the gate. But just under 40, yeah, right over here, 38 to 39 looks like if it does get through, or at least attempt to, that should be the first kind of trajectory, just under 39. And then I want to see a pullback hold just like this. It can even have a little liquidity grab like that and then get through, boom. And that would be the pathing, if you will, for DraftKings, which means that you got to have patience here. This probably takes you through February. It's possible you see 40s, 42 on like a massive extension, but that's what we're looking at here. And that is actually like a bearish retracement from this swing high to that swing low. That's exactly 50% retracement of that breakdown, which takes you into this where is it? Just about $40 level bear zone. It could even get up to as high as 42. But then you want to see it traverse above that consolidation here to see that breakout. So that's where we are. TLT, no, I'm not trading. Eaton, is that Eaton? It is. So Les Buffets. I think this is a pretty good call out. If you don't know what Eaton is, this is going to be an under the radar energy play. So electrical products. If there's a real turnaround, it's not a small company, $126 billion market cap. This is like the actual data center power. Really? Where's US? Oh, I didn't even know they made chargers. Products. Yeah. Battery. So real backup, like when you do a real data center stuff, a lot of people buy stuff like this. They're like if you can think of $1 million battery backup, this is like Eaton, or multi-million-dollar battery backup. True story. This is super interesting where it is. I was watching this, so I'm shocked that you even mentioned it. So we have a higher high, but we have a lower high, and we have a higher low, lower low. So right now, this is a bit of a downtrend here, but if it can get out, I mean, this is the general $300 level. I think this has a good chance of actually going back to the highs or higher. I don't want to say anything too soon, but that would probably be a year or so out. It's not a big mover, but it's a bit of an under the radar data center energy play to me. We'll just see. I don't know the fundamentals that well, but yeah, you have earnings coming at the end of the month. That could be a catalyst. That's a shocker. No pun intended. To this chart. I mean, broadly speaking, it's up and to the right. So I don't hate this one at all. I think it's a slow mover, but that's, yeah, definitely. I like that. What is Is this the one, Lionsgate? It is. Yeah, no, that's too much. It's gone too far. Is it short? This is short. Yeah, I'm not chasing that. $2.6 billion. They get me in trouble. You gotta wait till like 8. In this area. What? Oh God. Is Grav ever going green again? I mean, I don't know. Like green, depending on what your cost basis is, it's green from the lows. But no, this is a long way out for sure. I mean, the one thing about this international stocks, like if they do well, cool. But you need a catalyst. You have earnings coming in February. I don't expect this to go anywhere right now, other than consolidate and just kind of base out here. So I expect a lot of sideways movement from Grab. BD94, nice. All right, I know a couple of people on this. Iran. I mean, there's the break. This one and Cypher probably don't need to have big pullbacks. So we should do targets are 55 on Iran. That's the bear zone. Some of you guys might be happy. But if you do get a pullback, that's fine. It's a big move today. I would still see that. 42 was that extension from that major low to the major high. So what we're talking about here was a bullish pullback from that like all-time low to here. It's a bullish pullback. You're right into the 50, so I expect maybe one more green day, then some pullback consolidation around that 45 level. If that does that, then you're all good. You should see 5560s, which is that bearish retracement right in here. 61 and a half, 61 and change, which would be that. So again, 41, that was a big pivot level right there. That's your kind of like golden pocket retracement. This is your golden zone. It's a good pullback from a chart perspective. So Iran starting to act right again. We'll see how she goes. Cypher is going to be a similar story, even like a little bit more bullish chart. There it is. The same kind of bullish pullback. I don't know that this one is really broken out yet, though. Day one. Technically, this is day one. So this one probably can go a little bit more parabolic than the other. But these guys do move quite a bit. And this is $20, just over 21. Just over 21 before you would expect some kind of like pullback. Yeah, it might be a big pullback. And then you'll have to see how it works from there. CNDS. Oh, CDNS. Cadence. Dude, how did Synopsys do? Why does this chart look like that? Wrong ticker. I mean, off the lows, that's a lot better. Cadence and Synopsys, yeah. I mean, if Jensen likes to mention people, those are the two people he likes to mention. Synopsys off the lows, that's a lot. That's it's not bad. These aren't big movers unless you have some kind of like Jensen catalyst, typically. 515 to 550. Right in there. I'm just going to scroll through. I did ETH, STS. You guys like Eaton, yeah? We could do Zeta real quick just because it's in the right space. I don't look at this one a whole lot. He's right there. I don't know what the hell this was. So that's going to be nonsense. But I can take this from here to here. Ooh, 22s. Okay. So 19 was big to hold, has to hold that. Looking at 25s, if it can get through this more recent high. So we're looking at 25s right in here, a couple levels of confluence. Yeah, that's where I would give this one like a couple weeks to hold this level. So this is a weekly chart, technically not breaking out just yet. I mean, even if I did this, you're still probably looking at that 25s. I mean, if something goes parabolic, it's 28s, but I think realistically 25s is the better kind of target, at least in the next month or two from this consolidation, if it continues on. This looks good, though. Chart looks good. I don't have any reason to think otherwise on this one. Right space, decent looking chart, not bad. QXO for Steve. Look, I like this stuff. Is it Milkman Steve? I don't know if he has a thing against traders or what, but I got a lot of fundamentals when I do this stuff in general. But I'm very much about the housing trade. about the housing reversal. So QXO, yeah, I like this. Look at this chart is just in the dumper. 23 is not even it doesn't even register for me. So yeah, a little gap fill here. I like Builders First though, as a more real company. Ask the milkman about that, or tell him to bring me on a stream someday. Whatever. You do have a session gap here. You close over 24, then you're very likely getting that breakout, but you need to have that close and open above that. And here's that consolidation here. This is an extension of that consolidation. I'm not really going to take this into, I don't know what the hell is going on this shenanigans. I mean, this chart looks like the VIX to me, but I don't know. I could talk to my brother. I have a brother who is, I don't know if he uses this stuff, but he's a builder out on the East Coast. I never talk business to him, but yeah, I mean, this looks generally bullish. BLDR is Builders First Source, the same thing, right? Here's where we are. This kind of breakdown right back to a pretty key, interesting level. This is mass distribution. I mean, we're good. This looks money to me. So I would like this from a more at least this chart long term doesn't look like the VIX. It looks good. And then obviously our RH, which might look a little bit like the VIX. There's that. This is Restoration Hardware. I mean, but these are the home builder trades. FLG and your regional banks would come after the home builder trades. I think then you have Basel III also for those areas. But the reason that 200 level is a big deal, it's these lows right here. So here, that last breakdown, we're not even there yet. So 210, right? So I have to be cautious here on Restoration Hardware, is that from these lows, look, it looks good. But this is a tariff thing. This is multifaceted. I think this gets to 215 as long as it can hold this 200-day. I could easily see 215 and then a pullback. And again, as long as it can hold that general $200 level, then it's on the mend. But being on the mend for something like this, I mean, that's a big deal. We're not talking about that, but that's a big deal. How's the Nike doing today? Yeah, Nike looking good, better. 67, 65s. I'm happy. Technically, low, higher low. Technically, not really a higher high yet. So this could still be consolidation. I think you get to this, yeah, 70s, just under like 68s, and then we got to see what happens next, because this is definitively in a downtrend, but not unlike something like this is at the top of the box, not Nike, Oxy. You know, you get this kind of bounce sometimes, and then it's still going nowhere. So I mean, Nike or Oxy is similar. I just don't know. It's a lot of nat gas exposure here. So Natty being down. What is Natty down today? That's ugly. $11. What? Hang on a second. Nah, is that real life? I gotta look at a different ticker. That's sick. It's NG. Okay. UNG is it's a daily ticker, so it's not going to match it correctly. So I got to go to futures. Yeah, this thing is like sideways as all hell. That's so crazy. But I don't know. This is your VG and the like too, right? Yeah. I did a little clip video and I was like, this is where we're going. I sold it. I made 20% on this little blip from like 580s to like, that was 20%. I'm like, dude, I'm happy with that. That's like a whole year on S&P. But here now, see the problem with this is that where it stopped, look at where it stopped, that's a breakdown level. That's resistance. It's 50-day. I mean, you don't think it's going to go. I think you can see 640 again. As a quote unquote liquidity grab. I'm just grabbing this guy. 650s. 655. You can look at it. It'll be right here. And then make a decision. But that was a sell level, trade complete, at least from the lows. Biddy going for it. Yeah, drones, man. I saw this Kratos. Oh, I bought this stock not that long ago. I mean, this stock I bought. That looks good. We should see 95 soon. I think this is the healthiest one out of the bunch. Maybe not the biggest mover, but I'm telling you. Well, I'm just saying, I can look at this objectively. They have real contracts. This is much healthier than like, I don't know, AV is good. We talked about this one last time. This one has a catalyst, UMAC. I don't know much about this one. Oh, geez. RCAT. I mean, but if I took my pick, it's Kratos and AVAV. Yeah, these look good. Nebius looks good. Nebius looks good. Did we text him? I don't remember if we texted him or not. It says text him it. But yeah, on-draw stones too. But I mean, it's not as big. Oh my God. Okay, never mind. It's happening? Is this because of Venezuela? It wasn't supposed to happen yet. What's going on? I don't know if you, I mean, I could say the same thing. I bought Kratos not that long ago. That's the only one I actually bought. But I don't know that we missed anything is kind of what I'm looking. These all look like they're about to get spicy. Like, yeah, Hut 8 for sure. But that Hut 8 is like it's a Ponzi scheme. It's low float. January 16th catalyst day. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know a lot of these have catalysts for sure. For the year catalyst. How's the lava rockets doing? I mean, that's good. Hold on, $70 ready. Where's Maddie? We told them triple digits. We told them triple digits, right? I'm pretty sure we said triple digits. How's the rest of the space? ASTS. Yeah. Space, drones. I'm scared to look. Oh, God. Whoa. $10. Yo. I don't know that you have to jump out right now, but all of these are starting to squeeze. I mean, I can look at these kind of things, but, you know, with earnings, I don't know. Is it the wrong ticker? Is it Airbus? I don't show earnings. Well, TradingView is wrong, like notoriously wrong for earnings. So I don't know. Yeah, we're clear on triple digits for the lava rockets. Airbus. Who knows Ebraer? Dude, why is it not on my... I think they changed tickers recently, right? Or they changed exchanges. EMBJ. Oh, babe. Okay. Ebraer. Listen. Okay. That's a breakout. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Look at this chart. You know, Amit doesn't know many tickers. I love him to death. But sometimes when you see these things, you're like, okay, this is like staircase to heaven. Kind of like, come on, man. Like, where's the pullback? It's like from here, 50 to like, not like, geez. What a chart. No joke. Yeah, what a chart. I mean, for the last year, 18 is... Yeah, if you don't know Ebraer, learn it. All right. I think we're good for now. But yeah, it looks like an everything rally. That's what we can say. Friday, it's a big pivot on the week. I think that for all intents and purposes, what we're looking at is just kind of that expectation of such a low number coming in for the US on Friday. And everything from Friday on can change. So right now, this looks really good. A lot of stuff look really good. So I think we can ride it. Pullbacks, forget about Miss Cleo. I fade Miss Cleo all the time. Like, I mean, we want to be on our toes. You don't have to jump out and buy anything now. Across the board, I'm very much focused on the January effect. And a lot of the tickers that we've gone over today fall squarely in that category, except SMCI. Not a joke. This is like the crappiest crap, whatever. But that was garbage a long time ago. And, you know, they still have their other things going on. So anyways, everything else looks good. I like IWM's chart. I like it, the setup. I mean, some of the things we just went through, Zeta, all the rest. There's a lot of catalysts coming out this week. We might be a little bit ahead of our skis today, especially for like an NVIDIA or actually, we didn't even look at NVIDIA. But look, it's an everything rally. We don't have to chase it, but I think these pullbacks are buyable. And after this week, we should start to see volume really coming back in. And then we'll see how everything hashes out for the year. But we're almost there, very close. Earnings season is just a week or so away. This is looking good. Dollar coming down. Everything looks better. TBD, we got some more months left for the rally, and then I'll be on my toes a little bit more. So until then, boys and girls, I will call it, and I will see you guys on the next one. Adios.